What is the value of human life? If you can sell your lifespan, your time, or your health, would you do it? How much do you believe your life is worth? Would you sell your life, your future, everything away for money? These are all questions that arise, and I sold my lifespan for 10,000 yen. I sold my lifespan for 10,000 yen is a story about a 20-year-old guy named Kusunoki who is desperate for money, so he tries to sell the rest of his belongings. After being disappointed with the price, the old man at the shop tells him about a place that buys lifespan. And while Kusunoki didn't believe it at first, he eventually found himself at the same place the old man told him about after going to another shop and hearing the same story that he was told. Eventually, he gives in and sells his lifespan for 10,000 yen per year after selling the remaining years of his life. We witness him live out the last 3 months of his life with his observer, Miyagi, who was also the same one that evaluated his life worth. After trying to figure out what to do, he makes a bucket list and tries to revisit his past in hopes to find some happiness and closure. All he was left with was disappointment after disappointment and was left alone like before, until he realized that Miyagi was there for him the entire time, and he ends up getting close and developing a relationship with her. He finally lives out his days happy with her. This story follows a broken man who clings on to his past and his regrets, who finally realizes what really gives his life value. As you dive into this series from start to finish, you are left with one question. Can you put a price on life? What is the value of human life? Do any of us know? In this story, Kusunoki has to battle within himself, having to accept the fact that his life wasn't actually priced at a very high value. By the end of the story, we see that his actual value and his actual price on his life is only 30 yen. The reason for this is because his life ended up being wasted and he was seen as a failure. He ended up being handicapped because of a motorcycle accident. He didn't have any ambitions or dreams or anything. He was left with nothing at the end, and ultimately he wanted to kill himself. But yet, who's the one that gets to judge if a person's life is meaningful or not? We all have to go through life with struggles within ourselves and struggles and obstacles that keep us from doing anything. But who's the one that gets to say if our life was worth it? Who's the one that gets to say that we were successful or not? Because at the end of the day, the only person that gets to decide those things is ourselves. We get to decide what success means to us, and we get to decide what happiness means to us. But this was something that Kusunoki didn't understand. He didn't have any ambitions, but he did find one thing that made him happy in his life, and that was riding his motorcycle. Even though that motorcycle was the same one that led up to potentially ruining his life. This was a message in of itself. There's always something out there for you. Money can't buy you happiness, especially if you don't love yourself and aren't happy with yourself. We can't put a price tag on life because at the end of the day, once we die, nothing matters anymore. The money that we made is all gone. The fame that we proclaimed is gone, and everyone's just going to forget about it eventually one day anyways, and we're just going to be nothing more than a thought. He gave up because he didn't know what to do with his life. But at the end of the day, do any of us know what we're doing with our lives? Do any of us know what we're gonna do a year, 10 years, 20 years from now? His future was bad, but that's because his mindset was also bad. Even if things aren't going as planned, you cannot let yourself get into the mindset of everything's over, because the future's unknown. There's plenty of life left within you and plenty of life left to live and experience before you could decide that it's time to give up. So at the end of the day, you have to keep walking. But this is something that he couldn't do. He allowed himself to be consumed by his past, when at the end of the day, your past does not define who you are. Everything that happened in his past with the people that he met, that didn't dictate what your life was going to be like, but he let that. His childhood friend, the girl of his dreams, the one girl that he loved, he let her rule his life because he wanted to be with her. And he felt like without her, his life was meaningless, his life was pointless. There was nothing left to live for but to be with her. And he put everything he had into just hoping that there was a future with her. And when it came to light that there was no future with her, and that she ended up becoming miserable because of him, and ended up just killing herself at the end of the day, broke him. But at the same time, it allowed him to realize that his past is just that, the past. And he finally was able to realize what mattered. What was in front of him. Miyagi was there for him throughout the whole entire time. And he was able to realize with that that's what was important to him. The past isn't important. Yes, the past stays with us and we carry the past with us, but at the end of the day, it's what you decide to do moving forward. In present time, you get to decide what you're going to do with your future. The past you can't change. The only thing you can do is learn from that. And it's always going to be there to follow you. But the only thing you cannot do is turn back and look at that past and let it take over. And that's something Kusunoki let happen. Nothing matters after you die, too. Because at the end of the day, all the money you made, fame and glory, will all be gone. And this is something that Kusunoki also realizes at the end of the story, when he decides to sell the rest of his lifespan to try to shorten Miyagi's debt. And he didn't care that he could have became a famous artist and made money or whatever. He didn't care about that, because at the end of the day, that was all going to go away eventually anyways. There is no value or no price you can make up of a human's life, because it is not for someone to decide who is successful, who is famous. It is for us to decide, because someone could just want to just enjoy life and another could want to be a millionaire. If that person that just wanted to enjoyed his life, then he was successful in life. And if that person became a millionaire that wanted to become a millionaire, then they were successful in their life. Because at the end of the day, they did what they wanted to do with their life. We can't place a price and can't hold one human's life over another, because we all have different purposes in life. There's no point for us to try to compare each other and to try to hold someone else above another. Because my life is not the same as the person's next to me. Because Kusunoki's life wasn't the same as his classmates. And that's why you can't place a price on a human life. And that's why there's no value on a human's life. And even if you were to sell your life away for money, that money is going to be gone anyways. There's nothing money could buy that's going to make you happier or make you love yourself more if you can't even do that for yourself. If you can't love yourself, if you're just not happy with your life the way it is, there's nothing money can do to fix that. Yes, money could buy, something that we like. Money could help us do our hobbies and go through life. But if you aren't happy just being happy with the way things are without the money, and if you can't love yourself and you hate yourself, it's not going to matter. Both Kusunoki and Miyagi are the same, which is why they're able to understand each other. And sometimes that's just all we need in life, is for one person to understand us. Both are broken humans whose past had followed them everywhere. That is why Miyagi lied to Kusunoki about the actual value of his lifespan. His life was worth 30 yen, but she gave him her lifespan's money because she saw her in him. They were the same and they found comfort in each other. Kusunoki was blinded to this at first, but after she started to open up, he slowly saw this, and after he finally had to let go of his childhood friend, since she finally said that she hated him and wished he had saw her cries for help and eventually just ended up killing herself, he was able to accept her fully, and he started to realize that she made him happy since she was by his side and she understood him better than anyone. Eventually, this would lead him to live out his remaining time with her, always making sure she felt like she was there, not caring if others thought he was weird for talking to himself, because everyone couldn't see Miyagi. Miyagi was invisible to everybody but the person she was observing. And he didn't care. He still made her presence be felt. And to the point where he started going around town telling everyone that Miyagi was next to him. And people even started to believe it too. She appreciated that since no one has ever done that for her. His one purpose was to make her happy. So he tried to sell the rest of his life to shorten her debt. And she didn't want that, because she felt like if she couldn't be with him, then she wouldn't have been happy. And she ended up selling the rest of her life too. And at the end, they lived out the rest of their days together. We can see in the end that both characters finally understood the value of their own lives and understood what made them happy and what they wanted out of their lives. And even though they couldn't live a long future or live a long life, that at the end of the day, they were happy with the way things ended. And Kusunoki finally realizes what really gives his life value and what gave his life value. You are the only person that can dictate how valuable your life is. Another person can't do that. And that's why you can't put a price on life. Because it's not for someone else to decide, it's for you to decide. And at the end of the day, yes, Kusunoki and Miyagi both sold their lives away, but they realized how valuable their life was. And they didn't care about the small amount of yen that they may have gotten for selling their lives. They understood the actual value, and they were happy at the end of the day. But that is all I have for this video. As always, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.